say it's closer today than it's been in many years.
Yeah.
I would say that. The reason we don't do it, I don't think this is any secret, is we don't own the rights to that. People call it creator owned, but we don't own. It was never creator owned. It was always DC.
Build is creator owned, but DC owns it.
Yeah. We got that beautiful Watchmen deal that Alan Moore got, where it's like, as long as it's in print, we don't have the rights
Theirs,
to it.
yeah. So if it goes out of print, it's back to us.
But
it does well. So.
Yeah, it's funny, we get our royalties, and if there's like a line, like if we make less than like $1,000 or something, so when people come up to us like, oh, I just bought 50 copies of shares, like, thanks, cost us our rights.
Just this weekend, we had a teacher come up, and she's like, I bought 90 copies for this college class I'm doing. I'm like,
they teach sheriff at West Point. Yeah. So yeah, because of that, we're never gonna. So if we were to do more, we would just be giving those characters to DC. So when we get the rights back, we'll do more. And yeah, we're a little closer to that. No, keep on. No, there's nothing you can do to reach the minimum. We'll just change the minimum on us. Their lawyers are very good. They hold on to that. They hold on to share.
The other side of that is if something gets made, we'll do another one because we have money.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's the other side. If they actually use it, we've gotten so I don't want to say close, but like tons of people are interested in making. It's such an easy TV show. My God, just True Detective said Baghdad. It's such an easy pitch. And so we always turn them down because we don't control it. We don't have it. We can't sell it. So if we ever get back, we'll do it. It's written. I wrote it. The second season's written. So we'll just have to do it.
For what?
Yeah, we're 10 years. What's up?
So you both collaborate together, and then you've worked with different artists, you've worked with different writers. What would you say makes a good marriage between an artist and writer when you're working on a project together?
Batman.
If you can bring Batman to the artist.
Yeah.
Okay. What makes a good artist writer collaboration?
Neither one of us feel like we're the boss.
What? Oh yeah, no. Neither of us.
I hesitated to say that because I knew the joke was coming. But yeah, when Tom and I do a book, it's very collaborative. There's no, like, I'm the writer and this is my vision, and I'm the artist and this is my vision. It's a together thing.
I totally. But is there? Let's change the question and make it negative.
Sure.
Are there things that writers can do that would like piss you off?
Yeah. It's the Alan Moore script of there's a listing of everything placed in a room and where it's supposed to be, and all those things that take freedom away from artists, and just being too precious with one side of it, artists, especially because you can turn in an amazing script, but then part of the artist's toolbox is to figure out how to interpret that in the best way. And sometimes writers want you to draw their script as given. And you're like, well, it would work a lot better if we did this and this and this. And Tom and I have always been, I always used to make the joke of, Tom's like, why do we work well together or whatever? And I'll come by, I have all these changes with other guys. I'm like, oh, just because I don't ask.
Yeah, some artists will be like, Tom, I want to change this thing. Is that cool? I find out you change things when I see the data.
Yeah. The only time I tell him when I change something is when I want him to like acknowledge it and say it's cool.
There are things artists do that make me upset.
Yeah, let's hear it. Yeah.
Anyone who says they're going to do something done, like that's probably the worst sin. Like I'm going to do 5 issues with you, I can only do 3 after.
Yeah.
Like that's a thing that's the worst.
Yeah.
And to be perfectly honest, when they do stuff that's just like it's not modern and gets me in trouble for something they sort of made a decision about.
Yeah.
Like they're drawing something that just doesn't meet modern standards and I'm going to be for it. That makes me upset. Those are probably the 2.
We did when they let us.
Yeah, they don't let us anymore.
They're
I
not
didn't
big
know.
on 12-issue things anymore. They like the shorter.
But that's the artist, not.
Yeah, that's because, and I'll tell you, like, even I did Sheriff, all 12 issues in a year.
In 12 months.
In 12 months, yeah. And,
Which was crazy, because I was thinking about Make Man and Vision at that time.
yeah,
And Sheriff was 22 pages, it wasn't 20.
yeah, so it equals 13 issues in 12 months.
Yeah.
But, once you hit that 6, 7 range, you start to slow down a little bit, or like you start to catch up with what they gave you for lead time, and then by the time you're at like 8, 9, you're trying to outrace the printer, and that's really anyone, and that's probably the fastest of most of us artists. So the 12-issue thing really only works if you have some sort of built-in break after 6, but companies don't like to do that. So.
Yeah, that's the crux of it. Great artists these days are 8 issues. Max.
Yeah. And I was like, people always, back in the 60s, this guy did 6 issues a month. But like, I mean, you go farther back, you look at like Batman #1, when Batman and Robin are swinging through and there's a cityscape in the background and it's just, the cartoon rectangles with windows in it. Like, if you turn that in these days, you get fired. And so like, but go back to 1940 and tell that guy you have to do it in 3-point perspective, he'd go, what?
Also, they had inkers and
Yeah,
colorists.
yeah, and yeah, that's the other thing I always tend to forget. I'm like, oh, why am I so behind on this deadline when all my friends are doing this? I'm like, oh, that's right, I do all of it. Yeah. And I can only do one thing at a time.
And they have kids.
Yeah. Yeah, and also, Sheriff, I didn't have a kid yet, so.
Kids suck.
Yeah.
They suck.
Just a little bit.
You asked a question, you said 12 issues and we talked about it.
I don't remember. I think I was just asking, like, what made you decide, like, that did you want Sheriff to be 12 issues as your miracle, or is that like you guys talked about the story, decided to split it into 12 issues?
First, I like miniseries where there's a ending. There's, for all sorts of reasons, but mainly because you have more power when the ending is already defined. Because, like, let's say a lot of the stuff Tom writes and then I've done too is there's like a mystery element. And if you have an ongoing with a mystery, people get real, like, antsy and stuff. But
Oh crap, I went on.
yeah.
That's interesting.
But if you have, a finite thing, at least some of the audience will know that you're only going to get to that answer in the very, very back half or very back end. But we've put out plenty of 12-issue books where the first issue comes out and they're like, they didn't even answer it. 11 more issues, dude.
Sheriff, because Sheriff was a novel I wrote that didn't get sold, and so I knew it was had endings. I'd written the whole novel and was translating that to 12 issues. And then Omega Man got canceled, so that's why it was 12 issues. And then Vision was 12 because they offered me Batman, so I left Vision. So it was just a coincidence I started off with 3 12-issue series. And then, I like them better. I like working on them. I've been doing them for the last 5 years. All of them good. It's so satisfying to have just a trail that is on your shelf.
Best
Like
feeling,
that's
yeah.
it has a beginning, middle, and end. You come to my table, you want to buy a Supergirl or a Strange Adventure, I can give you a complete story that you can read. I think it's the most rewarding thing.
What do you go back to if you're stuck or frustrated for inspiration?
I always have one of my Norman Rockwell books open next to my computer. Just an unlimited font of knowledge in those books. You can tell so much story in just one panel, one image, and just even the sketches and facial expressions and stuff. There's so much life in them, and that's always a huge goal of mine is to not necessarily like realism, like not trying to be Alex Ross or anything, but I'm trying to make that emotional connection where you see humanity playing out in the book. But yeah, that's what I go to. It is like kind of a funny thing when you have been in the industry for a few years now. You start to realize that deadlines don't care if you have artist block or anything, so you just kind of don't. You just kind of find your way to work through it. Stuff has to get done, and it's very rare you can just take a day to be frustrated. I mean,
Yeah, that's what I actually like about having started in novels. Like, that comics, you don't have time for writer's block.
yeah.
You don't have time to be like, this sentence isn't perfect, we read it 50 times, because it has to go.
Yep.
And it makes you a better writer, because the first time you wrote it was probably the best sentence, and you're just making it worse every time. Yeah. So it makes me a better writer.
Yeah, totally makes sense.
When I've never gotten writer's block. I always have just stuff coming out. But when I'm stuck for an idea, I steal from old movies. I mean, that's like, obviously Supergirl's still sure created. Human Target is still from an old movie called DOA. Strange Adventures is from an old movie called Acts of Vengeance. See, I go to mostly old noirs, and I kind of see these kind of perfect little stories. I mean, I'm working on a story this morning. I was in the shower. Like, I can't get into it. I don't understand it. I'm like, wait, it's Real Bravo. I was like, oh yeah, it's Real Bravo with John Wayne. And then something made sense in my head. So that's fun.
After talking to so many artists and writers in this industry, I realize every story is created in a shower.
Mr. Miracle is created in the shower.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. I mean, you have to adjust. I did some 6 issues recently. I did Killing Time with 6 issues, and Gotham Year One with 6 issues. And those are also 28 pages of pop, which would be very helpful to have a longer comic. Mr. Miracle is 22. Strange Adventures is 28.
But two different artists.
Main Street is 28. But so yeah, you have to, like, I knew with Gotham Year One, I was like, there's just no time. We're hitting the ground running. Every issue has to have huge revelations. There's no time to do like a model issue or like in Mr. Miracle, we did a whole issue with the side scroll issue.
Yeah.
We didn't have time to do that with a 6 issue series. There has to be plot flowing out. Yeah, so it is a different phase. But I don't know if you imagine if everything, your brain adjusts. I mean, I've done my 10,000 hours. I know where things have to be. But yeah, I mean, the hardest thing is ongoing is much harder to balance, at least for me. Like, I'm doing Wonder Woman now, and Penguin, and it's much harder for me to think, okay, this mystery doesn't have to be solved by issue 12. It's like I have to get. It's much weirder and harder. It's if you know where the end is, you know exactly how to space it out. If you don't know where the end is, you don't. And you're like, well, Tom, how come you don't plan like that? Like, just the 6 issues or whatever. Because the artist can change. You have to be flexible with the comics for the art. You want to make sure you're writing to exactly the right artist.
I think Brave and the Bold is, it's 24 pages each issue for 4 issues, which comes to 96.
Yeah, that was
Is that
hard.
right?
Well, we did the One Bad Day, which was 64
Yeah.
pages, and which to me is 3 issues in my head.
Yeah.
So I read an issue a week, so I gave myself 3 weeks.
But the crazy thing about Brave and the Bold is it's 96 pages total, but it's retelling a 20-page story.
No, an 8-page.
Or an 8-page story.
It's the exact definition of why decompression is terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're fighting a lot of both. We've already covered the first 6. We have
Oh my
2
God.
pages for the last.
We have 2 issues to go to the 2 pages there.